Welcome to the High Adventure Scouting Podcast. This is the source for all things high adventure for scouts, scouters, and anyone else interested in promoting high adventure trips for our youth. You can find all kinds of great high adventure options for your scouts at highadventurescouting.com. We are constantly updating the list of cool trips, and we want your input on your best trip. Welcome, high adventure enthusiasts. We're excited, as always, to highlight a high adventure base on this edition of the High Adventure Scouting Podcast. Today, we're joined by Stephanie Kelly. She's the backcountry trek manager for the Northern Lights High Adventure Base located in Alaska. The base is operated by the Midnight Sun Council of the Boy Scouts of America, based out of Fairbanks, Alaska. Stephanie, thanks for joining us today on the High Adventure Scouting Podcast.
Oh, thank you, Rob. I'm so glad to be here.
All right. Now, the regular listeners of this podcast know that the purposes that we're kind of going for is to let the listeners know a little more about your program offerings. And I'm sure people outside of the regional area don't know much about your programs. And being way up in Alaska, a lot of us in the lower 48 probably don't know anything. So just give me a quick overview of your programs, things you offer, and we'll kind of drill down from there. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that's perfect. So the Northern Lights High Adventure Program is part of the Midnight Sun Council based out of Fairbanks, Alaska. The program celebrated 20 years last year, so we're proud of that. What I think makes us most unique is not just being in such a special and wonderful place like Alaska, but we build all of the treks exactly based on the goals for your specific troop or crew. So we talk to you about your personal goals, your aptitude in certain areas physically, how you're hoping to grow as a team, as individuals, and really go from there.
Well, that's awesome. That's kind of cool that you get to base that on whatever they're looking for in a particular trek.
We like to laugh and say that the whole state of Alaska is our playground. It's fair game. So yeah, if whatever you're interested in, whatever you want to do, we can put that together.
Well, good. Well, what are the typical options that trek or troops and units and will go on at your facility?
I would say the ideal combination would be a short backpacking trip, maybe 3 to 5 days, and then a short canoe trip. Again, maybe kind of in the 2 to 4 day kind of time frame, and then within that time, either between or on the bookends of those two things, we like to see a glacier. We like to see some of the local museums and kind of some cultural things about Alaska. Alaska has such a rich history, both with the native people and then with the gold rush and how it became a state and just that culture of self-reliance. So I like to build that in as much as possible and make sure that you get a nice picture of wildlife, some time spent outdoors, out in the wilderness, and then kind of understand who the people are who live here.
Well, that's great. Well, where do most of the units come from? I mean, I assume a lot will come from Alaska, but there's only so many scouting units in Alaska. So where do most of them come from?
They typically don't come from Alaska. We do have friends from other parts of the state. It's a big place and it's fun to explore and to definitely meet each other. A lot of our troops come from the lower 48. Goodness, it kind of depends. It seems like it comes in waves. One summer we had several troops from the Boston area, and that was kind of fun. They knew each other and they could talk before they came up. But it's really across the board, and I think that also really adds some uniqueness to the trip. So they bring what they expected and what their home is like up to Alaska when they visit. So that's great.
Well, when they, when units come into the area, where do they fly into? I mean, it's very easy for us to think of the lower 48. Oh, yeah, it's easy to get to these cities. Alaska is such a big state. Where do you fly into Fairbanks or somewhere else?
Folks will typically fly into Fairbanks.
Mhm.
So to give you a little bit of perspective, because it is different than the lower 48, Fairbanks to Anchorage is about a 6 hour drive if everything goes well, if there's no weather, if there's no road construction, etc. So it is a big place. Typically, troops will fly into Fairbanks, but sometimes they'll fly into Anchorage, and there's a variety of ways they can make their way up north to us. And we build that into their itinerary. But there's a train. It's a spectacular, beautiful ride from Anchorage to Fairbanks, or smaller planes. We can come get you. We'll work with you on that.
How far from Fairbanks is kind of where you guys start out most of the treks, or does that vary?
That can vary. So a couple of things kind of happen. So we are full service. So once you fly into our beautiful state, we pick you up and we handle it from there. Typically, we'll kind of start and end at what we call the high adventure base. It's also our scout camp. It's Lost Lake Scout Reservation, where we also offer a full BSA scout camp experience, if that's also something you're interested in. And several troops have come up and done a week of camp, and then also done some high adventure. So nice to have that combination kind of in your back pocket. But it's nice because that's about maybe an hour drive from the Fairbanks airport. You get to see some wildlife typically on your way. You get to see the Alaska Range, and we've got a lake and some amenities there, so we can start and end. We can do some gear swaps. We can do maybe a canoeing tutorial on the lake before we hit the river, things like that. So we'll typically start and end there. And then the rest of it, it could be a couple hours to a trailhead, north or south, or from Fairbanks. There typically is a fair amount of driving, but it's beautiful. People don't complain. It's generally a really beautiful drive.
Well, that's one of the states I've never been to. I have two states that I'm still wanting to go to, and that's one. So maybe one of these days I can. I'm gonna have to get to all these high adventure bases. That's gonna be tough. So
We would love to host you. Come on up.
yeah, I know. It looks great. Now, is there a minimum, maximum size for crews? I mean, I know. Say, if I've been to the Boundary Waters, I know you can only have so many at a time. What's your limits in Alaska?
So, to be honest, I rarely get the minimum question, but if you
Mhm.
are concerned about, having a small group, that's totally fine. Always ask. We can probably make that work. And actually, I'm going to almost say in every case we probably could make that work. As far as the maximums go, we'd like to have a group of 12, which includes both your youth and your adult leadership. That gives us the opportunity to have two local trek leaders who are with you the entire time. And that just, it's a good size for safety reasons, for kind of building the cohesion of your group, but also it fits in a lot with, the permitting process and making sure that, everybody gets enough time with each other. And so I would say a group of 12 is really where we would want to stay.
Awesome. Now, if let's say there were, we always hear about provisional scouts at scout camp. Are there people that maybe want to come up there and be a part of another crew, or be combined with somebody? Is that sometimes that's an option, sometimes it's not? What do you guys make any accommodations for that?
We do. We try to make the accommodation. We realize we're far away. It can be, a big expense and a big deal to come up. So we want everyone to have the opportunity if you can make it. So that has happened, and we're comfortable doing that. Everything that we do, of course, above by the YPT and the right mix of youth and adult leadership.
Mhm.
But I'm proud to say that we can make about anything work.
We all know the major high adventure bases around the country, and they offer some awesome programs. Have you been searching for a cool alternative from your typical high adventure trip? As a scout leader, I want to give our scouts some great alternatives. You need to check out highadventurescouting.com. You'll find information on over 30 different council high adventure bases in 24 states. Maybe you're looking for a do-it-yourself option and need some ideas. Maybe you've taken a great trip and you want to share your good fortune with your fellow scouts and scouters. Just send us the details and we'll publish your trip. Whatever your interest, highadventurescouting.com is the one-stop shop for all things high adventure. That's highadventurescouting.com. As far as the kind of staff you have, what are most of them from outside of Alaska or from Alaska, or what's the makeup of most of the kind of the staff that actually goes out on the treks?
There's a good mix of local Alaskans and then some others from the lower 48 from other places. We like to hire 21 and up.
Mhm.
We really take the high adventure name seriously, and we do get out there. So it's important to have somebody with a little bit of life experience, a little bit older, and then we also certify them with wilderness first aid, CPR, AED, and then variety of other scouting certifications to make sure that they feel empowered and comfortable. And then you, as our guest, feel, like you can just relax and enjoy yourself out there. So I'm proud to tell you that we have a nice mix of not just local and out of state trek leaders,
Mhm.
but people from diverse backgrounds. It's co-ed, and just really, caring, interesting, just people with a servant's heart, really hoping to show you the best time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great summer job to me. But
Oh, we are hiring for next summer if there's anyone listening who did it.
exactly. Now, as far as the main thing that a lot of scouters are asking, okay, all right, this sounds awesome. What how do you guys what kind of cost is involved? So is it per person cost, per crew cost? How do you guys work that out?
So it's a little hard to give you a ballpark because again, everything is really built
Right,
customized
right.
for your crew. So, but don't be afraid. Please, give us a call and we'll work that out for you and give you a good expectation of what that might be. We can also help you with the flights. Typically, troops will do that themselves, but we can, kind of guide you through ways to save money and you know, that's a whole thing, right? Buying flights.
Oh yeah. Flights are always expensive.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. And so, we've done it enough. We have family in the lower 48. We travel enough that we're able to kind of guide you through that process. But as far as cost goes, everything is included. So all of your food, all of the permits, all of the costs to and from. Once we build that itinerary for you, it is per scout, but the rate overall will go down when you have a group because we're able to kind of save some costs there.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So probably the best way, if you're interested, uh, call, email, right, and find out. All right, this is what we want to do. What are we looking at?
Yeah, I
So
think so.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we try not to have cookie cutter um, adventures, right?
Hmm.
So part of that means, what are you interested in? What are you good at? What skills are you, already, pretty versed in? But what are you trying to learn and what are you trying to see here? And then that can, affect the cost as well. But I have to say, we have a lot of great local partnerships and they really help us out. And so we're able to really stretch those dollars too.
That's great. That's great. And I assume all included in the cost, that would probably include, tents and things of that nature and cook kits, or is there something that troops and units need to bring with them?
There are some things that you bring with you. So
Hmm.
we send you a very detailed gear list.
Right.
The rule is kind of think about all the things that are your personal gear. So obviously all of your clothing, your footwear, um, all of that, the layers and tents, sleeping bags, sleeping pad, all of that. What we provide for you is cookware. So all of the camp stoves, the fuel, the pots and pans, and then the bigger stuff. So canoes, obviously, things like that.
Well, yeah.
PFDs, um, and then kind of that shared gear. So like a dining fly, for example, or Dutch
Hmm.
ovens, things like that. So think about like the personal gear that you would bring with you, like where you're sleeping and what you're wearing is up to you, but everything else we make sure that we have on hand for you. Because again, you don't want to pack that onto a flight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, I assume that they need to bring their own backpacks. They're going on
Correct.
backpacking trip. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
It's different at every high adventure base, and I try to find out more than anything what everybody needs to bring. So
Absolutely.
yeah, exactly. Now, how early do you need to does if a unit's looking, how far out do they need to really get a hold of you guys, or is there a time when you open up registration each year?
It's kind of a rolling registration, and it depends on the troop. We have troops who've booked 3 years out, and then we
Wow.
have books. There are troops that call and say, you know what, we'll be there in a couple of months. I would say the earlier the better, because again, we want to make sure that we can fit you in. The summer season, just based on the weather and where you want to go, it's a short season. I mean, the weather is already dicey. It's fall here. We have fall colors, and it's snowy and frosty, and not exactly the sort of welcoming environment, that we picture in August and September everywhere else. So, and then with school schedules, you do want to act early. But talk to us. We'll see what we can figure out for you. And the other thing is, the further out you go, the more opportunities we have to build that perfect adventure for you, to get the right permits, to put you in the right places. So,
Exactly. Now, are there other, let's say, trips outside of the summer, or all the treks generally during the summer? Are there fall or winter opportunities or anything like that?
So I will tell you this, we are very, very open to wintertime treks, and we have done that in years past. It's been a couple of years, but we're always hoping to ramp that back up. We're always fighting that school schedule,
Right. Yeah.
but if we could coordinate, certainly in the wintertime, and we've done this, there's dog sledding and ice fishing and snow machining, and you can brag to all of your friends that you've camped in 40 below. I mean, my goodness, right outside of Fairbanks is North Pole, Alaska, and I think we all
Wow.
know what you might find there in the wintertime. So,
Well, after Christmas, you'd find somebody relaxing, I think. So.
probably the big man is there. You can meet him 24/7, 365 days out of the year.
Exactly.
But yeah, we're very open to that, and always hoping, at least I am, that someone will take us up on that, and come up and have some fun in the wintertime, or even a spring break type trip. Or I know some schools now have opened up like different fall breaks and spring breaks. So no, absolutely not. No, we're year round. Come on up.
That's interesting. Now, I have to ask you. You mentioned that really the high adventure base is kind of all the treks kind of start at the summer camp that you have there. Are there troops that will do both? Like have come up and one half of the troop do the summer camp regular, and then the others do the high adventure, or is it generally once you get up there you're going to do one or both?
There's a nice mix of both of those things.
Hmm.
But actually, there are many troops and venture crews over the years that have done either a combination of a week of summer camp, and then they go and go on a backpacking trip or something for that second week, and they spend a total of 2 weeks up with us. And there are also troops that send their younger scouts to camp, and then the older scouts will go on a backpacking trip, or maybe they'll meet up at the end and do something together. So it's kind of a good combination. Our summer camp is only 2 weeks long. It's in
Oh
July.
my gosh!
Yeah.
Wow, 2 weeks.
Yeah, and we do draw from the lower 48 a little bit, but it's predominantly Alaskan scouts. But it's a great camp. I've worked at the camp for 2 years also, and I'm very, very proud of what we do there. So it can be a great adventure to start or end at the summer camp. Meet some other scouts from other parts of the country, and yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, good.
Yeah, and you may have mentioned this already, and I missed it. What's the typical date range for high adventure trips in Alaska? Because I know you probably start a little bit later, like a lot of northern bases do. But is there a kind of a time frame that you guys usually want troops to concentrate on?
I would say June and July. August
Usually.
already really starts to turn to fall, so we try to wrap up about that first week of August or so. Um, yeah, I mean it's a very busy and very kind of saturated season, which I like. People are coming and going, and it's just a whole lot of fun. But yeah, we like to focus things really in that kind of first part of June up through the first week of August type of time frame. And again, that's kind of based on school schedules, but it's also really based on the weather. We still have snow and ice well into the end of May. Which is fine, but dress for it.
Exactly, exactly. Well, if I come up there, it would be during the summer. I spent one week after Christmas down at that that base down in the Keys. Can't remember
Ooh,
what the name of. Yes,
yeah.
yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
So that was fun. But well, any other cool and interesting facts that about the High Adventure Base or Alaska that we haven't covered?
My goodness. People always have the thing that they want to see. And I love that. I personally love the kind of little challenge in that, like, oh, you want to see a bear? All right. Well, let's try to make that happen, right? Oh, you want to see an eagle?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pipeline, So I always am very interested in what everyone's personal goals and what they are when they come, and then what surprises them by the end. And what I find is that everyone has been surprised by something, and it's always different, and it could be something interpersonal. It could just be growing within your troop, or growing yourself, pushing yourself, which is always really special. But yeah, I like to have those before and after conversations, and really hear what people were expecting, and what happened. So I think everyone should visit Alaska once.
Well, like I said, that's one of the states I still need to visit that I haven't yet. So, well, that sounds very cool. That sounds great. Where we're at, where I'm at right now, it's warm, so I would rather have a little cooler right now. So
Yeah.
that would be awesome. So, well, Stephanie, I want to thank you for joining us today, and I think it was a cool conversation.
Oh, thank you so much, Rob. And my goodness, we invite everyone. Please come up, please call us, and see if we can plan an adventure for you.
Awesome. Now, I want to thank Stephanie Kelly, Backcountry Trek Manager from the Northern Lights High Adventure Base, for joining us today. Now, you can get more information on their programs at alaskahighadventure.com. That's alaskahighadventure.com. You can also find them on Instagram at Northern Lights High Adventure. Thanks for joining us today, and remember to tell your friends about this podcast. You can find us online at highadventurescouting.com, on Facebook or Instagram. If you have any questions or ideas for future podcasts, just email us at info@highadventurescouting.com. This podcast and website are independent and not affiliated with any youth organization. Happy High Adventure! This has been a production of High Adventure Resources.